All right, everybody hear me okay? We have, I'm in my office. In some case, sometimes we just get really, for some reason, very poor service up here. All right, so 2002 parent satisfaction surveys were done by you guys just recently. Um, I got about 196 page document we're working through now with the principals, and we'll get that to the rest of the leadership team probably tonight or tomorrow. We've drawn some conclusions out of there. I will tell you this. So this is a normed survey, which means that it's good. It means that, it's something we can count. We can count as a good document for us. And the way this particular document looks, it's going to give me a net promoter score. So any score over a 0 for the education field, so a positive number is considered a good score. Our score is 51. That's exactly the score we had last year, by the way, 51. So I was hoping that number would bump up a little bit. I think for me, I think this parent survey weighs a little unfairly to the middle two numbers, 7 and 8, because if you're not a 9 or a 10, they don't consider you a net promoter. They just consider you neutral. So there's lots of 7s and 8s in there that probably could easily be a 9 or a 10 with just one more, with a different answer of some sort. So it reads really differently, which is I'm more pleased about. It reads really differently than last year's survey. Far more positive, far more comments that make me feel like we've made some progress. But the takeaway for me is always, what can we improve on? We'll share that with you just as soon as we get through it, and tell you things that, hey, here's the things that are still on parents' hearts, and things that they're still wanting us to work on. So that's coming quickly. Hopefully you received a distance learning survey from me late last week, or maybe it went out Monday, but there's so many surveys going out right now. But hopefully you've gotten that by now. If you will take time to fill that out, that will just help us hopefully plan if we have to do something like this again. But as much as anything, hopefully it'll just help us get better with what we're doing technology-wise in general. So if you haven't not done that, please encourage you to do that. I'm very excited about the mission statement being improved. Couple of folks on here who were on the original committee, Jay's on here. He helped us work on that. I think I saw somebody else a moment ago who was on there as well, I think, that helped us work on that back in the summer of 18. And it's just taking a little time to get through that. But really pleased with that statement. We'll begin working on our vision and our values this summer. And when our faculty return in August, they'll obviously have some input into that as well. Really pleased with the over 50 universities that our seniors were accepted to. Really good schools. They chose to stay a little closer to home. That's not uncommon. My experience with West Knoxville graduates is they tend to be in like a 5-hour radius of Knoxville. So that's not uncommon. But it does make me really, really pleased that they were, accepted into some really nice schools outside of that 5-hour radius. So again, a little over $3 million in scholarship, which is really good for a size of the class of 36 graduates. The task force to just think about best practices dealing with COVID going forward started last night about 6 o'clock meeting. We've forwarded to them about 6 or 7 really good documents that are being collegiate documents, all the way, top end collegiate documents, to really just folks who are consultants, kind of everything in between about ways we may open school going forward. Our plan is to open school and hit the ground running, but we have to prepare for things like if there is a spike at some point. So that's what their responsibility is. I just sent a second survey that you'll get. I hope to have it to you by Friday, that you guys can give them some information as they plan as well. So it's about a 10 or 12 question survey that other districts around the country have been using to poll their parents about how they feel about opening school in any number of ways. So it's just the information piece. Be on the lookout that for me as well, so that we can get that information to those guys as they plan. So that's kind of my quick review of all of the things that are really on my plate right now. I do want to speak just a little bit to reopening school. Preschool and Kids Connect open up on June 1st. Their documents are not exactly like our documents, but they do mirror it a little bit. So that'll give us a good running start into the fall. So actually, I'm really excited that we'll have some information, see how that looks as they open, what sanitation is going to look like, how we have to ramp that up a little bit, social distancing, anywhere from lunch to chapels to hallways. Do we wear a mask? Do we not wear a mask? Or we take temperatures every day, once a day, twice a day, on the way in, on the way out? Who are we going to let in the building? All of those things are being discussed. Until we get a vaccine, or certainly until we get an antiviral, it's going to change a little bit. But again, our goal is to walk in the building August 13th, as planned. So again, be on the lookout for that survey, probably by the end of the week, hopefully. So at this time, our high school principal, Mr. Pfeiffer's with us. I'm going to punt to him for just a second. If you have a question, please go to that chat box and type it in there for me, and I will do my best to answer it. While we're on here, one just popped up. And that, yeah, Jay, I'll talk about that in just a second. That's one of the plans. I'll talk about it in just a second. Nathan, anything you want to add to my comments, or anything you're thinking?
No, I think you covered it all. I mean, we were just excited to have graduation when we did, and we're able to pull that off. And I thought that went really, really well. But
yeah, really pleased with graduation. We chose to go ahead and push forward with it, really, as I was talking with the local heads of schools in the area. Most of those schools opted to punt a couple of weeks. And to be honest with you, although Knoxville is in really good shape with the virus, I just didn't want to take the chance of, again, there be a spike and then who knows, they shut us back down or whatever. So we pushed forward with it. We had a good day. I'm glad we did it at 10 a.m. because when we were done at 11 o'clock, buddy, it was warm in those black robes. All of us we were shedding robes in a hurry. There's no joke about that. It was warm. So for sure, it was a good day, and parents really appreciated it. So one of the questions Jay just asked is, many universities are announcing. Notre Dame announced it. South Carolina has announced it. Some other universities today announced it as well. I didn't see who all, but I got some texts that they did, that they're thinking about. This is one of the questions on the survey, that you just start the fall semester on time and knock out all your breaks and finish school by Thanksgiving break, to give you an extended time out of the building when the flu season starts, and when some think this may spike again. So that's one, Jay, that is one of the questions we're asking families. Would they be in favor of that? I think it's really something we ought to think about. The grind's going to be on all of us, right? Because we all live for those breaks, but it really may make sense to think about that. So that's on the survey, Jay. Brad, I think tuition is due as normal. If there's, again, we just want to reiterate to everyone, if there's, our budget year starts in June, and we pay our teachers through the summer. So 80% of our budget is, as you'll probably heard me say, right at the 80% of it is salaries and benefits. Our budget's basically $5 million, so you can do the math on that. So we have a very little window of wiggle room with curriculum or fine arts or sports or whatever they might be. And basically, I mean, guys, you all know this. that's because we have a tuition point that's really a pretty good tuition point. So as our tuition is what it is at, just 9, right at 9. That's just the number it is. So tuition is, I believe the first payment's due in June. And if you have some COVID related or something that's going to affect you paying that, just reach out to Vanessa. We certainly are going to work with families this year. We're doing, matter of fact, I just got it just 5 minutes ago before I got on here. Our working budget. We give our first budget to the board in November, and then in January we go back and start adjusting, peeking at it, and then we don't really normally mess with it again until late July, August. That will not be the case this summer. We are probably going to peek at it every day. So we're scrubbing it. We're looking at every way possible to knock out. There's just not a lot of fat in it. I mean, that's the honest. There's just not a lot of fat in it. So we are looking at it, and we're also hoping our new director of annual giving, Lorna Keaton's going to have a good successful year. She's already began reaching out to the donors of the top 100 donors of the last 2 years, and she's having lots of good meetings there. So one of the ways for us to be able to keep a nice tuition point and be able to do our teachers is to raise some money. I mean, that's just how you do it. You can't be just a tuition driven school, which we basically are. We are a tuition driven school. So you got to be able to raise some money. So hopefully Lorna's going to be able to do that for us. Had another question. Summer workouts. I believe we are, this is a tough, let me try to explain this without everybody just falling out of their chairs. So it's tough to explain to the church that we can't have church, but we can work out in the gym. So as a ministry of the church, we've tried to work with the church. So we found out they haven't put this out there yet, but it looks like we'll move up. Actually, the church reopening sooner than we thought, which will allow us to start with summer workouts in the building sooner than we thought. So that ought to be out really quickly, and we will adjust our time frame to where summer workouts will be able to allow us to do whatever TSSAA allows us to do and when. So that's good news. There will be some changes in that, though. I can imagine at first we probably will not be in our locker rooms. We probably will do most of our weight stuff outside or off campus. The cost, we want to manage the cost that we have, because we have to sanitize for now. It's not that we don't clean every night, but this is a different level of cleaning. So every time we go in a room, it just has to be cleaned differently. Every time we were to go in the weight room, it would have to be cleaned differently. So we probably will hold those things a little closer for a while until we figure out exactly, what that looks like. Jay, my answer is with CAK football. I talked to Mo yesterday, Coach Mazingo, and they're doing virtual workouts, I think is what he told me, and they are absolutely expecting it to be a go. They have, I believe he told me, Nathan, you may know about this from talking to Coach Estes over there. I think they're thinking May 29th, they're going to be back in their weight room. I think that's what he told me. Now, I don't know if they've told the families that yet, but I think that's what he told me yesterday, May 29th. Other questions? Let's see. Anything else? Okay, good. All right. Yeah, we plan for that going. And we're actually talking about now, we had really planned, this was not terribly public news, but we had really planned to try to pull off middle school football again this year, but COVID's probably put a little kink in that. So we probably will play middle school football with it we're talking about right now for at least 1 year. Their numbers are going to be affected a little bit by it this year as well. We probably have 7 or 8 kids who are interested in it. So that was really the purpose of our phone call yesterday. And then the other subject came up. So we probably will go ahead and let our 7 or 8 who want to play go over and play over there this year. So, all right. Guys, any other questions? I don't have a lot more to share with you. I will tell you we are really, really busy planning. We're just trying to read everything. Well, obviously we have to close out, which we're doing, closing out the school year. But obviously we are busy planning for every potential scenario that could come our way in the fall. And the questionnaire will speak to that. We're trying to phrase it in such a way that we have as much information from our parents as we possibly need to move forward. Full, Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong on this. We're full K through 8, maybe K through 7. First grade could take a student or two. Kindergarten could take a student or two. High school could take probably a few if they're in the right places, but we're basically full. The question is, are we going to have full paying families? That's the question. A couple more chats here. So we're talking about, it's a great question, James. So we're talking about, one of the questions on the survey is, should we maintain some type of online learning? I've gotten, as you can imagine, in the last 8 weeks, I have received lots of insight from folks about online learning. I think the one nice thing about it, Jay, is it has forced us to think outside the box. So it is in the planning process. Like, what should our footprint now be for at least some kind of online learning? So the answer is, there's also a question on the survey about it, Jay. Yeah, so how's the situation affecting the international program? Mackenzie is probably working harder than ever to fill the numbers. Probably looking at 8 kids next year. Our goal has been 15. That's a good number for us. So we're probably looking for 8 to 9 kids. The real issue is going to be virtually anybody that arrives in that left the country and wants to come back, or new students, we're going to have to quarantine 2 weeks. So that's an added cost. Where do we put them? Who's going to stay with them? All that. Mackenzie's working on all those things now. So that's yeah. The answer is, though, we are committed. We're committed to international kids. They're part of what we do. We love our international kids, and we want them here. So it's Mackenzie's working overtime to make it happen. The high school retreat is on for now. We are doing a little work to make sure families are okay. I mean, most of the folks that have reached out to me have said, dude, we're in. We're in. Do not worry about us. But I know there are families who might not be comfortable with a high school retreat and a bunk room experience, a bedroom with a bunch of bunk beds in it. But Nathan, them, you could speak to this. The student senate is planning ahead to have that retreat. Nathan, go ahead and tell us whatever we need to know about high school retreat.
Well, I mean, we're in contact with Doe River and working on those plans as the summer goes. But obviously, if regulations say we can't, we won't do that. But as far as we are working on it now, we're working on it as though we are gonna be having the retreat. So SGA is working on that in communication with Doe River, and we'll move along as well as we can. If we have to pull back, we will.
Thanks, Nathan. Amanda, you're on here. Anything tech-wise? So you guys have heard me write this, or y'all have read this. You haven't heard me write it. You've read what I've written. How about that? Amanda, on March 1st, or the first week of March, we had a conversation that I was just reading some things and listening to some things that we were headed for some days we had never planned for. And whether you like what we did, think we did it wonderfully, or somewhere in between you think we just were awful at it, well, hopefully not awful, but hopefully we did better than awful. But I'm going to tell you, Amanda was the rock star in the last 8 weeks at Concord Christian School. we probably owe her a bonus that we cannot afford. But I can promise you, her husband and children probably haven't seen her much in the last 8 weeks, except sitting at that desk right there doing a lot of IT work. I mean, the teachers, everybody stepped up, but that only happened because Amanda prepared it. There's just no other way to put that. Amanda got it ready. So she's heard me say this about every time that I get the opportunity, but this would not have happened without without Amanda stepping up and spending a lot of time. Let's see if we got anything else. That's all I've got, guys, unless y'all have somebody else. Here's what I'll probably do. Once we get that plan in place and it's approved through the school board and the church leadership, we'll have another Zoom call so we can just start going through it with everybody. I imagine that would be the end of June. It's going to take us some time. I mean, it's very complicated stuff. I probably gave them about 125 pages of best practice stuff to read last night. So they're taking this week to read that. And then they'll look at y'all's survey information. We'll get that back to them, and then they'll adjust it. And then we'll try to line it up in something that makes sense. So, guys, that's all I have. If there's nothing else, I don't see any new questions in the chat room. I appreciate y'all's time tonight. Again, reach out to us if you have any questions. We appreciate y'all's children. We miss y'all's children, and we're looking forward to getting back to school in August.